Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 239, and we're going to talk about re-engineering your business because I know starting out back in 1995 as a struggling entrepreneur, there was things that I thought I knew, but I didn't. And it was from mentors like my next guest who are going to basically help you guys figure out what you're going to do next with your business. So welcome, James Jacobi, and thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Rob. I'm really glad to be here and be on the show today.
I actually, as I said off air, I said, I was on your website and you're doing a lot of great stuff and you get to speak and you get to be instrumental in the growth of not only small companies, but large scale companies that they're impact driven.
Hmm.
They're producing hundreds of millions of dollars and you get to witness, kind of their birth from kind of being on that plateau to scaling beyond their wildest dreams.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a pleasure, and I'm grateful to be able to have so many different size of companies we've gotten exposure to that have invited us in to help them, from funded startups to literally nine-figure companies I've worked with. So,
Wow.
um,
One of the videos I was watching that you were talking about, kind of when you get this concept, you want to just go fast and you want to just drive and drive. And for me, when I started that first business back in 1995, that's what I wanted to do. I just kind of jumped right in. I had no idea what was going to happen, and I was kind of building my parachute on the way down. The problem was I understood how to, because I had created a carpet cleaning business. I knew how to clean carpet, but I didn't know the marketing side. So after 3 years of struggling, I had to learn marketing so I could get the business to actually make some money. And so, yeah, I mean, I love the concept of being fast, but as I got older, it's like, okay, now I have to be a little cautious.
yeah.
And I think that mindset kind of disrupts everybody that's an entrepreneur who's like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to make money. I want to drive sales, but I also want to be cautious. So how do you balance the two?
Hmm. Yeah, it's a conundrum, but and the answer is that there's not a one-way answer to that question. It's going to be different for everybody, and that's the beauty of it, because every single person that's running and starting a business that wants to grow it, they have their own past experiences to draw from, their own past skill sets they've developed, their approaches to engaging relationships in the market. It could be on social media. It could be on a specific platform. You might be better at Instagram than you are at Facebook, or you might be better at LinkedIn than you are at Twitter. Like,
Mhm.
there's all sorts of different ways, or networking events, or clubs, or associations. There's a million different ways to do it. The important thing, though, is, and the reality is, time is your worst enemy. Like, time is the most precious resource you have. And so, and cash flow, obviously, too. Time and cash flow. So you want to think about, how can I grow my cash flow, and where can I talk to newer and better people that are better and a better fit for my business, and what value we can provide.
Right.
And that takes action. That takes massive action. That's a lot of what we talk about.
Yeah, it's for me, being a full-time entrepreneur now for 28 years and developing that skill set to be able to coach and kind of shift my ideas of my life lessons to other people took time. And when I was 25 years old, people didn't respect me because they didn't think I was old enough. They didn't think I understood the systems. I didn't understand the proven ways of doing things. Now that I'm older, they're like, "Oh yeah, Rob, okay, great. I want to hire you because you've done this." That's kind of my time. I committed myself to the time. I didn't always have cash flow. Now I do, but it just but I think nowadays in social media land is that people want to accelerate that time. They want that magic bullet. They don't want to wait
Yeah.
28 years to be, to have this cash flow. They want it within 6 months of starting their business. And again, sometimes that perception, you got to say, look, you don't have the systems in place, so we have to create the systems, we have to create the functions and the marketing. So your 6 month reality is not going to work, but a year, yeah, we can do a year, you know. And I think that's kind of
It's real.
it's a frustration.
Yeah. And I mean, especially as a small business owner and a startup, there's a million different things that you're thinking about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're questioning yourself on all these different areas of your business on how to run it the right way and what's the best way to do it. And the answer is, if you keep looking for answers, there's going to be more answers. Like, there's so many answers out there. The key for any small business is to just go down a path and start to be pragmatic and scientific about it. Is my recommendation is measure everything.
Right.
Like, do an experiment, have a hypothesis on what it is that you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it and what outcome do you want to have, and then test the approach. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't work, but learn why it happened. And learning and fast learning is really, really important for everyone to do, because it's the learning that's going to help you grow faster.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how fast you want to learn, it's going to help you shift and grow even quicker. The business that you start 100% will not be the business you have even 12 months from now. It's going to change. And that's good, because that means you're learning. Mm-hmm. And you're testing your business model, the product or the service, whatever you have. You're testing it against the market that you think is the one that should buy what you have. Mm-hmm. And you're going to learn by doing it if that's right or if it needs to be changed. And even how you deliver the service or deliver the product, and the experience that you're providing is going to change and get modified. But all that comes through the testing and the pressure of just do the business.
And you talk about pressure, and I think the problem is that we as entrepreneurs, we have this pressure to succeed. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we seek out mentors.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, I think, sometimes is that we seek out too many mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these mentors are telling us their life experience. They're telling us what they should do, what we should do based on their outcomes. And I always tell people, look, listen to one person and then test everything. Like you said, test the hypothesis and then always adjust. But listening to too many people, to me, that's too many voices in your head telling you different things, and it's just going to confuse.
Yeah. And listen to your gut too, right? I think one of the biggest skills that you learn as a business owner over time is learning to just be comfortable with your imperfect self. Mm-hmm. Because you're not perfect. No one is. But if you start to learn how to trust yourself and trust your decision making and really listen, you know what the business needs, or you have a good feel for what it needs. Listen to that. Mm-hmm. And if you want to hire a mentor, great. But make sure that your mentor is going to be of value to the area of the business that you want help in. Right. And even talk about what it is today that's going on in that piece of the business, and then talk about what outcomes you really want to see differently. Mm-hmm. So that it's clear, and the mentor could even have a better understanding then of what it is that is the mission. What's the mission of working together? There should always be a mission of working together with anybody, whether it's an internal employee or a client. There should always be a mission, because if not, and you're just getting a retainer or whatever, and you're just doing the normal thing, it loses focus and it loses the drive and the reasons why we're even here. So,
my goal, my mission has always been able to take more vacations, to give my kids what they needed to live in a bigger house. And I think when I started the first business, my goals were kind of just, I just want to get past this week.
Yeah.
And as I started, as I started to think about bigger missions, bigger goals, bigger things I wanted to do, it wasn't about the business making more money. It was about me creating more freedom for me. But in order to do that, I had to charge more. I had to do this. I had to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, if I charge more, I have to get better equipment. Then I have to get bigger equipment. I have to get more employees. But in the long run, it gave me the freedom that I wanted to step away from the business to do what I wanted. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs forget that. They think, okay, I'm going to start this business to make money, but what's that money going towards? Is it going to
Right.
your retirement? Is it going to something else? You know, I I think it's just, oh, I just want to create a business. Well, that model doesn't work if you have nothing to fuel it, that goal, that mission, and so yeah, for me starting out, it was, I had low prices. My slogan was, "We clean your carpet, not your wallet." I wanted everybody to think I was this cheap guy that could do stuff, and oh my God, all I got was the worst clients that didn't pay their bills, and I almost went bankrupt, and it was horrible. But when I started, re-engineering how I thought, things changed, and within a few years, I was probably the most expensive cleaner in my market, and then I sold the business. So,
There you go. It sounds like you settled into your value and then you felt
right,
comfortable charging more
yeah,
because you knew you were providing a really good service.
yeah. It was just one of those hard lessons to learn, and this is what I teach a lot of my clients. Like, I don't think your prices are high enough. I think they could go up 50%.
Yeah.
And they kick and scream and come up with thousands of excuses why they can't raise their prices. But when I bring them back and say, look, this is what you need to accomplish. These are your goals. How are you going to get there without raising your prices? And then they'll say, well, the market can't bear it. And they can. I'm like, the market doesn't know. So, and then as soon as they start raising their prices, they're like, oh, Rob, why didn't we do this years ago? Uh, so,
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's like your profits matter because if you don't have profit in your business, you're not going to be around much longer.
no,
And if you really want to make an impact in the market for whatever it is that you do, you have got to be interested in the profitability of your business.
no,
You just have to be. And so profit's a really good thing. It's important. And it's going to help you stay in business longer. It's going to help you serve more people. So managing your business internally, charging more, charging what you're worth, which a lot of people, I did it too. I struggle with it. I had imposter syndrome, when we first started out, but you gotta learn your edges. And once you learn your edges in the market of where you're really, really good and you know it and you've seen what else is out there and you can prove it, you got to lean into that hard and own that
no.
piece of the market.
Well, let's talk about starting out. How did you get your origin story, right? What made you who you are?
Yeah, so I got an interesting background. I'm a third generation entrepreneur, and the track records and the story kind of go in the same pattern. My dad was in corporate for a very long time. I was in corporate for 11 years, which is pretty good for a millennial these days. And I just, one day I just realized there's more for me out there, and I've reached my ceiling here, and that's okay. And I'm outgrowing my current environment. That's totally okay. And so I started my own business, and I was making really, really, really good money. I had 3 kids, brand new baby. I was a breadwinner, and I just dropped the career and jumped into my consulting business. And boy, was that I jumped in the deep end of the ocean, man. It was crazy for the first year. It was so scary. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a salesperson by trade. That's what I was in corporate for a long time. I was very, very successful. But even having all those sales skills, you had to learn how to market yourself. You had to learn about who you wanted to be, your brand. Everything you did was your brand.
Right.
And so, dude, it took a ton of self-reflection on who I was and why I wanted to be that way. And it was it was a huge first year. I actually did really well my first year, surprisingly. And I had some really good mentors that helped me get started the right way. But it's about taking risks and failing forward and learning and picking yourself back up no matter how hard that failure hurt. You're still here today. That means there's opportunity today. And you can eat, and you can get there today or tomorrow with where you want to go. You just got to keep swinging the bat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think one of my pivotal moments in my coaching career was writing my first book. And it was 2013, so 10 years ago, and I had just left a marketing convention in Arizona. I got on a plane, and as soon as I got on the plane, I'm like, huh, this is a great idea. And I started jotting down notes. By the time I got off that plane in Pennsylvania, I had most of that book written. And then I came back and dusted it, and edited it and made it perfect and shopped it around, and nobody wanted it. They wanted these thick books that were complicated. And I'm like, no, I want to make social media easy for everybody. In fact, I just wanted an easy book because, for me, it's the whole concept of reading a book. Most people are intimidated if it's more than 200 pages. They just don't want to read it. And so I wanted to make this very easy. They could pick it up, put it down, and learn from it. But nobody wanted it. So I created my own publishing company and immediately sold 2,000 copies. And
wow.
And my consulting business just, went gangbusters. And then everybody said, hey, help me write my book and do this. And I was like, okay. So 36 books later, and we're still cranking them out, still helping people, which is good.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. So
sometimes the answer, right, Rob, is the one you're looking for.
Well,
So somebody out there, it's you.
Yeah.
You're the answer.
Everybody was coming back to me with all these different things, and it's like, oh, Rob, if we do this, we're going to change this. I'm like, no, you're not changing anything. And then when I came out with my Rob versus books, which is basically my sarcastic take on customer service, morons and scammers, the very first book I put it out there for people to critique, and everybody, I'd say 99% of the people liked it. One person's like, well, Rob, it's just a collection of stories. They don't ever sell. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I put the book out. Everybody loved it. Now I just finished writing book 7. And now hopefully we just wrote a pilot episode to a future TV show. So that might happen. So
nice.
You never know what happens with the opportunities that are given to you. But I think
you don't
know. As most entrepreneurs do, they don't take an opportunity to grasp that lightning that's striking them, so they let it pass them by.
Yep.
I try to look at the opportunities now and weigh them. Okay, will this work? Will it won't? I mean, what if it doesn't work? Okay, at least I tried it, so I just keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, ask yourself this, right? Like, are you completely satisfied with the status quo of where you are right now? And if the answer is no, then you have nothing to lose. Take a chance. And the worst thing that could happen is you're back where you are right now.
Right. And I think one of the pivotal moments for me was not following the crowd, doing things my own way, being sarcastic, and people are like, well, Rob, you can't do that. You can't be sarcastic on social media. Like, hey, I can be whatever I want to be. It's my business. And the moment I started being real, I started getting more clients. It was weird, and I guess people love that type of humor. So, well, in the same respect as though the people that don't like sarcasm aren't going to call me. The people that like it, they're going to be my best friend. So it was kind of a turning point, but now I can't turn it off because it's just fun to be who I am when I'm doing what I do. Yeah. So,
that's how everyone should be. Be who you are and do what you love to do. There's an audience for that.
Right. So, you go from small businesses to large businesses, and my whole philosophy is if you're going to go big, that's where the reward is. So how do you gravitate back to a small startup and say, well, I'm not going to make a lot of money on this, but I'm doing it because I know that they have the potential. Then you go back to a large scale and say, oh, I'm going to make all kinds of money. There's got to be a mindset of why you do two different types
Yeah.
of demographics there.
Yeah, it's interesting. The bigger companies, they don't have it figured out either. They're just bigger. And there's so many pockets in big companies of people that really want to excel and learn and grow, and they're stuck. So
Right.
in some ways, it's no different than a small business, even if it's a huge brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found really great pockets of departments and teams and big companies I've worked with that are so fun and so appreciative to learn and grow. But for the small guys, it's we don't work with everybody. We work with people that are clearly motivated to grow.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta want to grow to be a 7-figure business or more for us. But if that's the case, then I love pouring into those folks and just sharing what I've learned and sharing what we know and asking them questions about why they want to do this or how would you go about doing that, and just to see how they think about things and how they want to run their business. It helps us a lot. And that's where we can come and provide value then, is to understand, once we have that framework from their perspective, we can show them some different ideas that they may not have considered before, and some strategies that could help right away that they haven't tried. And that's a lot of fun for me. So
Yeah, I find that the smaller companies can pivot faster.
yeah, they can
You
make
know,
change quick. Right.
Usually within a
Right.
week, where a big company, you got committees, you got this, you got that, and you got to get past all that. Look, people, let your committees do whatever, but we're going to, and it's just, oh, Rob, you got to speak to this guy and then this guy. And I'm like, by the time the day's done, I've spoke to 20 people and it's hard to get them to all think the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes I like working with a smaller person because they can just pivot faster.
They can pivot faster, but we also have to be aware that they're wearing a lot of hats, and
Mm-hmm.
so they're going to be running all over the place all the time. You got to keep them focused,
Yeah.
and moving forward in the right direction. So
Yeah.
accountability is really important, especially for small businesses.
Yeah. So how'd you come up with the name Ascend Advisors?
Yeah. So it was in COVID in 2020 when we shifted our brand, and we were I was a name.com, business coaching company at the time. And I decided I wanted our brand to be a corporate brand. I wanted us to be known for something that, no matter if it was me or someone else running this company, it was a brand that could last beyond me. So
Mm-hmm.
when we looked at the challenges of business in 2020, I live in New Jersey,
I'm sorry.
and unfortunately, yeah, yeah, unfortunately, 33% of small businesses went out of business that year forever. And there's a lot that are still struggling, and it exposed cash flow issues, it exposed sales issues, marketing issues, product issues, delivery issues, so many things. And so we were looking at this and saying, all right, how can we be a brand of value for where the market's going to go, and how can we be that value brand for a small business? And we came up with the word ascend, because we want to help people and businesses ascend to where they really want to get to, with as much support and strategy and systems as possible that really, really work, so that they don't have to worry about, if that kind of thing ever happens again, what am I going to do? Like, after working with us, that should not be an issue. That should not be a question. Like, you'll learn systems and skill sets and tactics to never, ever go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes some learning and execution. So
I like the fact that you said that you wanted to create a business that you could step away from, that the next person could take over. That's legacy.
yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs forget that the reason you create a business is not for the immediate money. It's not always for the freedom, which is what I always thought that I wanted, but it's for the legacy that you leave behind. What are the life lessons? What are the business? What are the money? What is the community that's going to benefit from the gift that you're giving right now in creating this business, or leaving this business to somebody else.
Yeah. I think about it every day. I think about every day what impact we can make positively today with the people that are in our, in our book of business today. So
right. And COVID ruined a lot of businesses, and it didn't have to be that way. Now, my business grew. The last couple of years of COVID, every year it went up 50 to 60% increase, which is awesome.
Great.
Most companies would relish to have those numbers. And but now we're getting into this so-called recession, and now a lot of businesses are starting to pull back. They're starting to get fearful. Their accountants are saying, "Hey, look, don't spend any money." But in a recession, you have to spend money on marketing to get people aware of who you are, what you do, and how you can benefit them. And these people are pulling their marketing, and their competitors are going to step in because they're overspending. They're going to steal their customers. So, I think it's very important that entrepreneurs realize that marketing is that lifeblood that keeps them pumping.
It is. Like you can't outmarket yourself. You really can't.
Right.
You should, if whatever you do for marketing today, try to do a little bit more this week and the next week, and you'll be surprised at what attention you get. There's going to be people that say hello that you never have met before that said, "I just saw you. Thanks for putting that out there." I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
Like,
and for me, it's the whole be everywhere concept. I mean, social media is great. People see me, on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and everywhere. And people are like, "Rob, do you ever step away from the computer? You're always posting something." I'm like, I'm hardly ever in front of the computer. It just appears that I am because I use a program and it automates everything so that I can step away, so I can have some freedom. But it looks to people, people are like, "Wow, Rob, I want to hire you because you're everywhere." And it's just, the appearance of marketing has to be so that people want to trust you, hire you, and then you provide the same service that you're doing for yourself to them, and now they're everywhere.
Yep.
So how do people find you? I mean, we talked about me being everywhere, but I think I found you on Facebook.
Facebook's a good place to find me. LinkedIn's a good place to find me. James Jacobi. Drop me a DM in either of those, and I'll answer for sure. And if not that, go to our website, Ascend Advisors with an ERS, ascendadvisors.com, and check us out. But I'd love to chat if you're.
And I think the website I'm looking at is your name, jamesjacobi.com. But I'll put
that's my other. I have two. That's my personal brand. Yeah.
I'll put the Ascend Advisors in the links so everybody can find you and learn more about you and discover how you can help them grow. And for me, it was that evolution from being a struggling carpet cleaner to learning all the sales processes and learning marketing and learning how to do this. Now I have this media company that's also a publishing company. That's also, we build websites and SEO and all this stuff. And people are like, "Well, Rob, how did you make that?" And they're trying to figure it out in their head. How do you go from a carpet cleaner to do all? I changed my stars, people. That's what I did.
It's great.
It's hard. For me, I look back and say it's not hard, but there was that transition year where I was operating two businesses at a time to see which one was going to be the one that's actually going to win. I knew in my heart that I wanted to be a consultant. I've known that for years. I think having that carpet cleaning business for almost 2 decades taught me the lessons that I needed to finally get comfortable to move into a new stage in life. And this new stage is providing more freedom, more money, more authority, more credibility than any other thing I did before. But you have to take those stepping stones.
You do. Totally do.
So what's your we have a few minutes left, but what's that one piece of advice that you'd like to give entrepreneurs out there and that you think that will help?
Yeah, I mean, just do wherever you are. I mean, almost anyone I ask this question to, do you want to grow your business? They're going to say, of course I do. Like, great. Well, let's do a quick self-assessment then on how you're going to do that. Like, what does growth mean to you over the next 90 days? Don't even think about a year. 6 months for a small business is a lifetime. It is a ton of time. There's a lot that happens. So literally the next 3 to 6 months is all you need to be focused on. And at the end of the day, listen, you want to be more profitable in 6 months from now. You want to have more sales in 6 months from now. You want to have more customers that love your brand in 6 months from now. And you want to, hopefully you're starting to get to a point where you can add layers and people and systems around you. Like, you should not be doing as much work 6 months from now
Right.
in the business that you are today. You should gradually, consistently grow and grow and grow and remove yourself from the business. You are the business owner. The business needs to be able to run on its own eventually. So that should always be something that you build towards. Otherwise, you'll just have a job and you'll be stuck in your business forever, which I'm sure you don't want to do. So
I've been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
yeah.
And now
So
I feel more like I'm the conductor and getting everybody else to do the work,
mhm.
and instead of me doing all the work. Yeah, but to some people, they get comfortable. They're
Yeah,
like, well, I've created this job I can go to. I know I'm going to make money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But they're never happy because they've never stepped up and wondered if that business could be even 10 times more. And
that's just it. It is, we don't usually think big enough.
no,
We really don't. We could do so much more, and we don't let ourselves think and dream big.
yeah,
But if you dream big, there's lots of ceiling beyond what you think there is.
well, for me, I had this, like I said, this carpet cleaning business in a small town. So all my clients were local. And now I have this business that reaches globally. I mean, I have clients in Australia and London and Tacoma and I mean all over the world. And I could never have done that having a local service. So for me, it was always, think bigger, think, okay, who else can I serve? What else can I do? You know, I always had that dream of doing something more. But for me, it's now, okay, where do I go from here? What do I do? How do I do it grander? Can I pump out even more books? How do I streamline it so that we're not doing just 4 books a year, but we're doing 10 books a year? How can we, grow this so that, we're helping more clients? So yeah, it's things I always think about.
That's good. And never stop. Always challenge yourself, right? There's never going to be an end point ever. We're
No.
always going to learn and grow every day.
Oh,
So
and one of the things that I want to emphasize to everybody out there is that the world is infinite when it comes to dollars. There is no stopping point. There is nothing that says you can only earn so much money. You know, it gets traded every single day. So don't think that, oh, I can only make $1 million a year. You can make as much as you dream about. You just got to push and you got to dream. I mean, and you got to take action.
you do. Yep. Got to take action. Dream, believe, and take action.
Yeah.
Got to
So
do it all.
this was great. I mean, we could talk all day. I think that the audience is going to really appreciate what you do. They just have to go to your website, which is ascendadvisors.com.
Yes. You can go to jamesjacobi.com too. You can. That's fine. You can find me there too. I'll see it. Or just DM me. I promise you, I'll respond right away.
Yeah, that is great. And I want to thank you for being here. And this is why James is an e-hero, because not only does he help you ascend to the next level, but he takes the time to be here to do these interviews to help you to understand what it is that you need to do to re-engineer your business. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. Adios.